and welcome to my Unit 1, Part 1, Assignment 6 podcast. And today I'll have a special interview with a gentleman and ask him what it means to be a man. Today my guest is Mr. David Laymon. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Ellery, for having me.
Alright, thank you for taking the time to speak to me today. So before we get started, David, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
So I come from Sacramento. I've been to this school in 8th grade. I went to the school when I was in 8th grade for a little bit, and then I transferred back in 9th. I've been here for 4 years. I've been in martial arts for about 13 years right now. About to get my 4th degree black belt probably next year. That's pretty much it.
Wow, that's amazing. Alright, and the way I met David was freshman year. We've been going to high school for 4 years now. And I've kind of always had him in at least one of my classes every year. And he has shown to be an amazing young man with such a persevering attitude and so positive. You know, I've never heard anyone say anything bad about him. He's such an amazing person and so dedicated to martial arts, which is something that he's been doing that for a very long time. Is that correct?
Yep.
Wow. So, are you ready to get started with the questions?
Of course.
Okay. So, when did you feel like you became a man, or have you had that feeling that you have become a man yet?
I feel like I haven't become a man yet because I'm still pretty childish. In my opinion, a man is someone who can provide and can be supportive, loyal. Like, it's all about integrity with me. Like, I want to be perfect. If I'm going to call myself a man, I should be able to take care of people around me and be able to put myself out there if they ever need me.
Wow. When do you think that sort of time or period comes about in a young man's life where he does transition into being a man with integrity, as you say?
I don't feel like a guy can say he's actually a male until he's past his 20s, because that's when he's actually going to have some struggles in his life that's actually going to be significant for him and his partner if he has one. Right now in high school we have challenges, but nothing compared to the real world.
I can definitely relate to that. So, do you think that the experiences you have with martial arts will prepare you in the future to become a man?
Martial arts has been everything to me. I've been in martial arts for about 13 years. I met some of the best people in my life from that type of facility. If I wasn't in martial arts or in Taekwondo, I would have not become the person that I am today. A lot of the times, it's not just about kicking and punching. There's a lot of discipline. You have to know. We learn about teamwork. We learn about perseverance. You can't get anywhere without being a team player. Like, everything is about family.
Yeah, and can you kind of give me an example of like one facet of your life that martial arts has prepared you for?
Probably school. A lot of the times we talk about persevering and not dallying. If you're supposed to do something, you have to meet the deadline. You have to push yourself to be the best you can. You cannot slack off. Yeah, we're humans. We're gonna make mistakes, but if you know you have something to do, you need to step up. You need to be the man. That's
a great segue to my next question, which is, as you referred to, you need to be a man. What to you does manliness mean?
So, sometimes in our society, we view men as hard rocks, being shallow and sometimes insecure about ourselves. And for me, I can be insecure too. For what I view a man as is someone who can be emotionally supportive to himself and to the people around him. It's okay to cry. A lot of guys feel like they're stupid or pathetic for crying, but in my opinion, you're showing your vulnerabilities to everyone around you, and that is what I feel is the stepping stone for being a man. You need to be able to express yourself emotionally and still be able to push yourself to get to where you need to go. You can't, it's okay to let things, you're going to have obstacles in your life, and those obstacles, they're going to push you back, but being a man, you need to continue to push forward and to achieve your goal. You can't cry at everything, but it's okay to show your vulnerability still.
That's a very interesting perspective of being a man, because oftentimes, and this seems to be true, at least in my culture, like the Latino culture, is that men are not supposed to be sensitive, and they're not supposed to be vulnerable. They're supposed to tough it out, and which is also like traditionally, that's kind of like what a man has always been.
Yeah.
And so it's just very interesting to hear that you have a different perspective, which I think is great, and it's a progressive perspective. And where do you think this perspective, or who do you think has influenced you? Because in the media, you see a lot of times that the man is actually a stronger and more not vulnerable to adversities. They just are a powerhouse, and they don't let anything get to them. So who or what has influenced you to think about a man as being a person who is able to show their vulnerability?
Probably my mom. Of everyone in the household, she's probably the strongest willed. When things are tough, she's the one who usually steps up. My dad, he works, and she works too, but she's the one who she's the one who takes care of everyone's needs too. She doesn't like men having to take care of everything. She likes us being independent too. But she does feel like men are significant in a woman's life, but it's good for both genders to be independent. We both need each other, and you can't have happiness without the other.
Wow, that's very interesting. Who or what men in your life, either living, dead, or even fictional, do you think have influenced your views of manliness? I know you said your mother, and that's a very interesting role model to have. But yeah, is there any men in your life that have influenced your views of manliness?
Probably my grandpa. He's the reason I wanted to become a police officer, because when he was in Guyana with my grandmother, both of them are police. They both served. They were both on the police force there, and when they came to America, he stayed as a police officer, and then he became a corrections officer. He was the person who my mom even looked up to, and that's where I got my views.
So you were kind of surrounded by both powerful men and women.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to be surrounded by. Wow. Are there any other specific examples of your grandpa and how he has influenced your conception of masculinity or manliness?
Probably in his religion too, because my grandpa is a strong Christian, and that has to do with discipline too. He what he reads in the Bible, he brings it towards us, and he tells us how we should behave, not to be worldly, not to just give up, not to hate our enemies, but rather treat them with love and compassion. We have to be different. We can't be like everyone around us, because I see from him too, a lot of times where I'd be mad or my impulses would take control, he's in control. He keeps his composure. He's struggled a lot in his life, but I could see now he takes things with a grain of salt. He doesn't let things hurt him, but at the same time, he knows when enough is enough and when he needs to stand up.
That's great that you mentioned religion, because I oftentimes see that it's also great guidance for young men, and not just young men, but the whole youth. I think that it's a great guidance in life, and it kind of directs you towards a good moral compass.
Yeah.
So, as a teenage boy, what do you look forward to to grow personally and to achieve that status of man that you hold with integrity?
A lot of it has come from martial arts, and even the school's police academy. We learn a lot of discipline, and we learn how to work with our community. We know how to treat others with respect. You can't expect someone to treat you. You can't treat someone terribly and expect them to treat you right. You have to treat them with respect and dignity, and they will do the same to you. We learn basic needs and necessities that you need in your life to prosper. Like, there's certain things that you need to know as a growing man or woman that sometimes we are withheld from, because a lot of the stuff, that's why some of our youths, in my opinion, they do things that aren't probably the best path for them, and they drift away. A lot of times we need the discipline in our lives, and police academy and martial arts, in my opinion, helps me become, as you can say, a man, because it helps shape me.
So sort of like having that guidance that shows you the right path. That's good. And now, as a young boy, and growing into adolescence, knowing that your own father, was also in your position once upon a time.
Yeah.
How has that changed the perspective of your dad?
Well, I don't know. I see my dad as a hero to me, because he's taken up a lot of jobs too, and he pushes himself beyond the limits sometimes, and I respect that. As a man, you need to know that even though you're going to be stressed, you have a family. You need to take care of them. That's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to protect and help those that you love, and even strangers. It's still good to show love with those around you, and you're not weak for that. Being a man doesn't mean that you have to be tough as a doornail. Doesn't mean you have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, a huge bodybuilder or whatever. You can still be a sensitive and kind-hearted person, even as a man.
So, sort of like being a good man is being a good human.
Yeah, perfect.
Right. So is there anything else you would like to talk about? Is there any people that have influenced you, or maybe even TV that has influenced you as an actor or a role model that you see that has influenced your perspective on manliness?
Well, honestly, I respect you, Ellery. You are a great definition of a man and a growing youth. Like, you are very intelligent. You have a strong moral compass, and I love that about you. And that's why I really respect you as a person.
I really appreciate that, and I just want to say that I respect you too. I've seen your dedication, and I think that we all can learn from each other.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time, and I appreciate you being available for my podcast and answering some of these questions.
All right, thank you very much, Ellery, for having me.
No problem.